Cushion of safety. Your safety and that of the crew and your patients depends on your ability to identify potential hazards and respond to them safely. An important driving technique that can help you accomplish this is maintaining a cushion of safety around your ambulance. This means trying to keep the area around you free of other vehicles and pedestrians as much as possible. This safe driving technique should be used in all driving environments: city, suburban, highway, and rural. Anytime another vehicle or a pedestrian enters your cushion of safety, you should ask yourself, what would I do if? What would I do if the vehicle on my left were to cut me off while moving into my lane? You should carefully think out your response. Depending on the situation, the action could be to steer out of the way of a potential hazard. But you must first know if your escape path is clear. Is there a vehicle coming up on me in the right lane? Another answer could be to slow down. But if you did, do you have a tailgater? And if so, could that driver behind you react quickly enough? To avoid these potential problems, you don't allow the other vehicle to linger in your cushion of safety. You slow down and allow the vehicle to move ahead, leaving your cushion. Let's look at the various components of your cushion of safety. First is the area to the front of your vehicle, which driver safety specialists identify as the most important part of your cushion. This is the space over which you have the most control. As a general rule, in ideal conditions with dry pavement, you should try to stay at least 4 seconds behind any vehicle directly ahead when traveling under 40 miles per hour. At 40 miles per hour or more, you should maintain a 5-second following distance. To check your following distance while on a non-emergency run, pick out a stationary object, such as the overpass. As the vehicle ahead goes under the overpass, begin counting. If you reach 1005 before reaching the overpass, you are maintaining a 5-second following distance. You may be thinking 5 seconds is way too much, but you will probably change your mind when you understand how your total stopping distance is calculated. Your total stopping distance is determined by 4 major factors. The first is perception distance, the distance your ambulance travels from the time you spot a problem until you recognize the problem as a hazard requiring your action. The second is reaction distance, the distance your ambulance travels while you move your foot from the accelerator to depress the brake. If the rescue vehicle you are driving has air brakes, the third factor is brake lag distance, the distance your ambulance travels from the time you apply the brakes until the time the brakes actually activate. With air brakes, the brake lag time is about 1/2 of a second. The fourth is braking distance, the distance your ambulance travels from the time you begin braking until your ambulance comes to a complete stop. These distances equal your total stopping distance. Now think for a moment about the various types of emergency vehicles. Do all of them stop in the same distance? Of course not. There are many variables that affect a vehicle's total stopping distance, including the vehicle's size and weight, the type and condition of the road surface, the condition of the brakes and tires, and the individual operator's physical condition and reaction time. Any charts you may see about stopping distances are not precise because of these variables. If an operator is involved in a collision and he or she says, "I couldn't stop in time," that operator failed to compensate for these variables. Maintaining a safe following distance is key to controlling your vehicle. We've already discussed recommended following distances in ideal conditions: 4 seconds under 40 miles per hour and 5 seconds at 40+ miles per hour. When conditions are not ideal, such as with poor traction or visibility, you must increase your following distance to more than 4 or 5 seconds. Although most other drivers can postpone a trip in adverse weather conditions, You may be out on the road because of these conditions. Slow down and increase your following distance. In addition to allowing you a safe stopping distance, the 4 or 5 second following distance gives you time to scan ahead, to the sides, and behind your ambulance. Traveling too close to the vehicle ahead can force you to concentrate your attention only on that vehicle. You may feel that a 4 or 5 second following distance will just encourage others to cut in, forcing you to keep dropping back. However, drivers who cut in are usually in such a hurry that they cut right back out. Now, let's look at another area of your cushion of safety, the sides of your ambulance. Inexperienced operators are often surprised by the size of the side blind spots. Even with properly adjusted seat and mirrors, and leaning in your seat to reduce your blind spots, it still may be difficult to spot vehicles in your blind spots. That's why it's important to get into the habit of checking your mirrors every 3 to 5 seconds. It will help you spot vehicles as they move into your side blind spots. Checking your mirrors every 3 to 5 seconds will also help you spot vehicles moving into a tailgating position behind your vehicle. Once the tailgater is tucked in behind the ambulance, the driver is unable to see the vehicle. If you have a tailgater and you are following another vehicle, increase your following distance to give both you and your tailgater more room to slow or stop if faced with a hazardous situation ahead. Don't forget, there is another car tucked in behind this ambulance. The driver would only know this if he had been checking his mirrors every 3 to 5 seconds. It is difficult to keep a complete cushion of safety around your ambulance in congested areas, but you should still try to maintain it as much as possible. A 5-second minimum following distance will give you the breathing room you need to scan in all directions for potential problems. Average reaction time is estimated to be 3/4 of a second, but it varies depending on your age, your health, how much sleep you've had, the time of day, etc. Using 3/4 of a second as reaction time, if you are traveling at a relatively low speed of 30 miles per hour, your ambulance would travel 33 feet before you even hit the brakes. One technique to reduce your reaction time is to cover the brake. Not braking, but placing your foot over the brake. When you see a potential hazard, don't wait until it develops. Cover the brake to reduce your reaction distance. Maintaining your cushion of safety and constantly scanning the traffic scene will help in your mission to drive with due regard for the safety of all persons. On both emergency and non-emergency runs, keep in mind the National Safety Council's definition of a preventable collision. They define it as one in which the driver failed to do everything reasonable to avoid it. This concept implies that you should do everything within your control to prevent a collision, even if another driver's actions are inappropriate and the potential collision would not legally be considered your fault. Coaching reminder points. Remember to scan cross streets. Remember to cover the brake when approaching an intersection. Be on the lookout for other vehicles, such as this van on the left that limits your view. Remember to scan 12 to 15 seconds ahead.